The galaxy was vast and full of old stories. Every race told tales of their beginnings, their struggles, and their victories. Among these stories, there was one that most aliens thought was only a joke. It was the story of humans. The legend said that long ago, humans once walked among the stars. They were not strong like the giant warriors of Krath. They were not clever like the Krull scientists. They were not ancient like the Serati, who lived for thousands of years. Yet the legend claimed that humans were dangerous, not because of their strength, not because of their weapons, but because they refused to give up. Many alien historians called this story foolish. They laughed when they heard about it. Some even told it as a comedy in great halls. Imagine, they would say, a fragile species of soft skin and weak bones fighting the great powers of the galaxy. What a joke! The alien Senate on the central world of Zaldris held such laughter often. Hundreds of representatives from dozens of empires gathered under the shining dome of the Grand Chamber. It was here, on a day like many others, that the human legend was mocked once again. A Serati elder, tall and thin with silver scales, raised his hand. His voice was sharp as he spoke. Once again, I hear strange whispers across the border systems. Some claim they have found traces of the humans. To this, I say nonsense. Humans are myths. Weak creatures who destroyed themselves long ago. The chamber filled with laughter. The insectoid chittering of the Krath overlords, the deep booming of the oxen warriors, and even the soft hisses of the Krull scholars mixed together. A Krull scientist, with 4 eyes glowing under his hood, stood up. My records are clear. Humans vanished more than 600 years ago. Their homeworld was poisoned, their colonies lost. There is no evidence they live, and yet, the smaller species whisper of them like ghosts. The Serati elder smiled. Ghosts, yes, harmless shadows of the past. But not everyone was laughing. At the far end of the chamber, an old ambassador sat silently. He belonged to a minor race called the Relari. His people were not strong, not powerful, but they had long memories. He leaned forward and whispered, almost to himself, "You all laugh, but you do not understand. If humans return, the galaxy will tremble." The others ignored him. To them, the Relari were weak dreamers. Beyond the council chambers, the galaxy continued to turn. Fleets patrolled borders. Traders carried goods through dangerous lanes. Explorers searched for lost technology. And yet, far on the edge of known space, something stirred. It began with a signal. A small listening post owned by the Oxen Empire detected it first. At first, they thought it was random noise, static from a dying star. But then, the signal repeated. Over and over. A clear pattern. The officer in charge frowned. He tapped the console. "This cannot be right," he muttered. Signal was weak but undeniable. It carried old language, a structure long forgotten by most of the galaxy. With trembling hands, the officer decoded it. Words appeared on the screen, words that no alien should have understood, but they were written in the old Terran language English. Earth. Command. Signal active. Awaiting return. The officer's skin turned pale. He rushed to report this to his superiors. Within hours, the message spread like fire. First through the Oxen military, then to allied empires, then finally to the Great Senate itself. The reaction was immediate. "This is fake," shouted one alien leader. "A trap," cried another. "A joke from pirates." But the Relari ambassador stood again, his voice calm but firm. "I warned you, the humans leave traces. And when they do, it means they are close." The chamber erupted in noise. Some laughed even louder, unwilling to believe. Others began to feel a small seed of fear. Far away, on a forgotten world hidden among dark nebulae, a machine stirred. It had been silent for centuries, buried under dust and rock. But the signal reached it, and its old systems woke. The machine's eyes glowed blue. It was not alive, but it spoke with a voice filled with memory. Protocol 7 initiated. Earth. Command AI online. Human Legacy Protocol active. The AI began to open hidden vaults, ancient storage filled with data, plans, and maps. It whispered to itself, as if speaking to the ghosts of the past. They thought you gone. They thought you weak, but you will return. Humanity always returns. Back in the galaxy, whispers grew. Smugglers spoke of strange ships in the outer rims. Explorers told of derelict stations with the mark of the human eagle etched into walls. Old ruins glowed with power no alien could understand. The laughter in the Senate started to fade. One craft overlord growled, "Even if they live, they are nothing. Our fleets will burn them." A Krull scientist shook his head slowly. "Do not be so sure. The records are incomplete. But I have read enough. Humans had a strange talent adaptation. They learned faster than others. They turned weakness into strength." The Serati elder hissed, "Dangerous lies." But his claws trembled slightly as he spoke. Meanwhile, on the hidden world, humans moved in shadows. They had survived in secret, far from the eyes of alien empires. Their bodies were the same as before, fragile compared to other species. Yet, their eyes burned with fire. Generations had passed in hiding, but they had not forgotten the humiliation, the loss of their home, the laughter of the galaxy that they had rebuilt slowly, piece by piece. Old warships slept under hangars. New ships were forged from asteroid metal. They trained their children not with soft words, but with the hard truth. One day, we return. A commander walked through the hangar, his boots echoing on steel floors. He looked at the massive warship rising before him, a ship painted with the old Terran colors. His voice was calm, but every word carried weight. "The galaxy thinks we are myths. They laugh at us. Soon we will remind them who we are." The crew saluted. The Senate continued to argue. Some demanded to send fleets to find the signal. Others demanded silence, fearing to awaken whatever was hidden. But while they argued, small alien scout ships moved closer to the edge of space. One such scout approached a dark region filled with broken stars. They detected metal, large structures. The captain leaned forward, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Are those shipyards?" Through the dark, they saw them, giant human vessels under construction. Dozens of warships, their hulls black. As night, their engines glowing faintly. The scout captain froze. His blood ran cold. This cannot be. They were supposed to be gone. Before he could send a full message, alarm screamed. A massive human warship decloaked before them, dwarfing their tiny vessel. A voice filled the scout ship speakers. "Calm, cold, human. You should not be here." Moments later, the alien signal was cut. Silence fell. When the Senate received no reply from the scouts, fear finally began to settle. Some leaders whispered quietly, not wanting others to hear. What if the humans truly return? But still, others laughed loudly, trying to hide their fear. They are nothing but shadows, and shadows cannot fight us. The Relari ambassador shook his head, whispering once more, "You do not understand. Humans do not need to be strong. They only need to survive. And once they survive, they rise. Always." That night, across the galaxy, many slept uneasily. Fleets prepared for battle. Traders avoided certain lanes. Spies searched for answers and in the hidden darkness, humanity sharpened its claws. The legend that once made the galaxy laugh had begun to awaken. And soon, laughter would turn to silence, because the signal was only the beginning. The galaxy could not rest. Ever since the strange human signal was heard, fear spread like a silent fire. It started as whispers in dark corners of space stations, in the mouths of smugglers and traders. Soon, the whispers reached commanders. Scientists, And finally the great alien Senate. The laughter that once filled the chambers grew weaker each day. Aliens still called humans a myth, but the word myth no longer felt safe. Too many things were happening. Too many strange signs. The Oxen Empire had lost a scout ship near the border of known space. The vessel had sent only a single fragment of a message before silence. The message contained blurry images of massive shipyards, shapes of warships that no alien could recognize. The markings on those vessels were old but clear. They bore the Eagle of Earth command. The Oxen tried to hide this, but secrets never lasted long in the galaxy. Soon, every major race knew. The laughter turned into heated arguments. Inside the grand chamber, tension filled the air. Representatives shouted across the floor. "They are back!" cried the Relari ambassador. His voice shook with both fear and hope. "I warned you, humans never vanish forever." "Nonsense," growled a craft overlord, slamming his clawed hand against the table. "Even if they exist, they are small. We are great. We will crush them before they grow." The Serati elder narrowed his silver eyes. "Do not be blind. If they truly build fleets in secret, it means they have hidden for centuries. That alone should terrify you." But still, many laughed nervously, trying to dismiss their own fear. "They are fragile, soft creatures. A single strike will end them." The Relari ambassador only whispered again, "You do not understand them. No one does. They learn. They change. That is their power." While the Senate argued, far away the hidden humans continued their work. On a secret world surrounded by thick nebulae, massive hangars buzzed with activity. Men and women worked side by side with machines. Sparks lit the air as new hulls were welded. Old databanks, preserved through generations, provided blueprints for ships once feared across the stars. First of the new fleet was almost ready. Its dark metal frame stretched across the hangar, armed with heavy cannons and engines designed for speed and power. Its name was painted in bold white letters, Uns Vengeance. A commander walked slowly across the deck, his boots echoing on the steel floor. His name was Admiral Kane, a man whose family had carried the memory of old Earth for centuries. His eyes scanned the warship with pride. "For too long," he said to his officers, "the galaxy laughed at us. They thought we were gone. They thought we were weak. Now we return, not as a legend, not as a myth, but as a storm." His words spread among the crew. Faces hardened with determination. Children of survivors, grandchildren of refugees, they had grown up with the stories of humiliation. They had grown up training, waiting for this day. The warship came alive with lights as its engines powered up for the first time in centuries. The roar shook the hangar, echoing like thunder. At the same time, in the ruins of an old human station, on the edge of space, the ancient AI spoke again. Its voice echoed through empty corridors, though no human stood there to hear. "Protocols active. Humanity must rise. For centuries, I have waited. Now the galaxy will remember your name." The AI began transmitting faint signals to hidden outposts across the dark regions. Forgotten satellites awoke. Storage bunkers opened. Weapons long buried were revealed. But the aliens were not idle. The Oxen Empire dispatched a fleet of warships to investigate the border where their scouts had vanished. 20 powerful cruisers entered the dark region. Their commanders were confident. To them, hunting humans was a simple task. For days, the fleet searched. At first, they found nothing. Empty stars, broken asteroids, silence. Then their sensors detected something. A station, ancient and half-destroyed, floating quietly. The Oxen ships moved closer. "This must be the human relic," their captain sneered, pathetic. But as they approached, lights flickered on across the station's surface. The old Terran Eagle glowed bright. And then the station spoke. A calm voice filled every Oxen ship. "Warning. You are entering restricted Terran space. Leave or be destroyed, the oxen laughed. Empty threats. Fire on the station. Cannons lit the void. Explosions shook the ancient metal. For a moment, it seemed the oxen were right. The station cracked and broke apart, but then the darkness shifted. From behind the shattered rock fields, massive shapes emerged. Human warships, black and silent, their engines burning blue. Dozens of them. The oxen fleet froze. Before they could retreat, missiles and plasma fire tore into their cruisers. Human tactics were fast, brutal, precise. Within minutes, the oxen fleet was reduced to wreckage. A single cruiser fled, limping back toward oxen space. Its final message carried only 2 words: they're back. News spread faster than any ship. Across the galaxy, panic grew. Merchants whispered about human fleets. Smugglers swore they saw black warships vanish into nebulae. Even the mighty craft overlords began to doubt. The Senate called an emergency meeting. The Serati elder hissed in anger. "You see, you fools, they are alive, stronger than ever." The Krath slammed his claws down. "Then we must strike now. Destroy them before they rise further." A Krull scientist shook his head. "Do you not see? They are already beyond what you think. The oxen lost 20 cruisers. If humans can destroy fleets in silence, then they are more dangerous than the records warned." The Relari ambassador stood slowly. His voice was calm, almost sad. "I told you, they adapt, they endure. You cannot treat them like any other race. If you push them, they will fight until nothing is left, and they will not lose." But few listened. Pride filled the chamber more than reason. The powerful empires of the galaxy were not ready to admit fear. Meanwhile, humans were not resting. On the hidden planet, training camps grew. Young soldiers marched. Pilots tested new fighters. Engineers worked day and night. Admiral Kane stood before his officers. A holographic map of the galaxy glowed in front of them. "Our enemies will not wait," he said. "Already they send fleets to search for us. Soon, they will come in force. We cannot stay hidden forever. We must be ready." His second-in-command, Captain Ilara, frowned. "Do you think they know how strong we have become?" Kane shook his head. "No, and that is our advantage. They still think of us as weak, as a joke. That will be their downfall." But even as humans prepared, doubt lived among them. Some asked, was it wise to reveal themselves now? Could they truly fight the entire galaxy? An elder, one of the last, survivors from the fall of Earth, stood before the younger generation. His voice was frail but steady. "I saw the day our world burned," he said. "I saw the Senate laugh as we begged for help. I swore then that humanity would never beg again. We will not hide in shadows forever. This is our time. The galaxy will learn respect." The young soldiers listened, their hearts burning with the same fire. In the following weeks, alien scouts continued to vanish. Every fleet sent into the dark nebulae failed to return. Some wreckage was found, but nothing more. Rumors became terror. On border worlds, children whispered about human ghosts. Traders changed their routes to avoid mysterious black fleets. And yet, in the Senate, many still denied the truth. Pride and arrogance blinded them. "They are shadows," one alien declared. "Then let us strike them with light," said another. But the Relari ambassador only shook his head. "Strike them, and you will awaken the storm." The storm was already awake. Deep in the hidden shipyards, the UN's vengeance rose from the hangar. Its engines roared, shaking the ground. Dozens of new warships followed, their hulls shining in the light of distant stars. The first human fleet in centuries was ready. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, his eyes hard as stone. His voice carried across every ship in the fleet. "For centuries, the galaxy mocked our name. For centuries, they laughed at our legend. Now they will see. We are not gone. We are not broken. We are humanity, and we are coming. The fleet moved forward, engines burning. Shadows stretched across the stars as human. Warships slipped silently into the void. The rising shadows of humanity had begun their march. And soon, the galaxy would see them not as myths, but as a force unstoppable. The galaxy did not stay calm for long. After the destruction of the Oxen fleet, fear spread like smoke. Entire star systems whispered about the return of humans. Smugglers told stories of black warships moving like shadows. Border colonies locked their gates. Even mighty empires began to move fleets closer to the dark regions of space. Still, many leaders refused to believe. Pride was louder than fear. They are weak, the Krath overlords declared. They are myths, the Serati elders hissed. They are only small raiders, the Krull scientists argued. But doubt was growing. In the Senate chamber, endless arguments filled the air. Some called for peace, to send messengers and learn the truth. Others shouted for war, demanding that fleets crush whatever humans had rebuilt. At last, the decision came. A coalition fleet would be sent. Dozens of ships from different empires, united under one command. Their task was simple: find the humans, crush them, and erase the legend once and for all. The fleet was led by Admiral Vroth, a Krath warrior known for his pride. His claws were sharp, his armor heavy, and his voice always filled with arrogance. Standing on the bridge of his flagship, he laughed when reports arrived of human warships. "Soft creatures," he growled. "If they truly live, I will burn them from the stars." His officers bowed. They believed their leader. After all, no one had seen humans fight for centuries. No one remembered their tactics, their fire, their rage. The fleet set course for the dark nebulae. Dozens of cruisers, destroyers, and battleships moved like a wall of steel, confident that nothing could stop them. Far away, in the hidden human base, alarms rang. On the bridge of the Un's Vengeance, Admiral Kane studied the incoming signals. His second-in-command, Captain Alara, turned toward him. A coalition fleet, dozens of ships. "They are coming straight for us." Kane's eyes narrowed. "So it begins." Alara's voice was tense. "Should we remain hidden?" Kane shook his head slowly. "No, this is the moment we have trained for. The galaxy must learn the truth. The legend must end, and reality must begin." He turned to his crew. His voice was calm but hard. "Ready the fleet. Today, humanity speaks." The coalition fleet entered the nebula. Strange lights glowed across the fog of gas and dust. Sensors flickered. Visibility dropped. Admiral Vroth growled. "Cowards, they hide in the dark." But as he spoke, his sensors caught movement. Large shapes, faint at first, then growing clearer. One officer gasped. "Admiral, warships, many of them." The fog parted, and the human fleet appeared. Black ships, sharp and angular, their engines burning blue fire. At the front stood the Un's Vengeance, its cannons glowing. For a moment, silence filled space. The two fleets stared at each other across the void. Then a voice came over the coalition. "Channels calm, human. This is Admiral Kane of Earth Command." "You should not have come here." The aliens froze. They had expected myths, raiders, shadows. Instead, they faced a fleet of real living humans. Admiral Vroth snarled. "You dare speak to me, soft creature? You are nothing. Your time is over. Fire." The coalition fleet opened fire. Plasma bolts, missiles, and beams of light filled the void. Explosions lit the nebula like a storm. But the humans were ready. The UN's Vengeance roared to life. Its shields flared as enemy fire struck. Then its cannons fired back, each shot tearing through alien cruisers with precision. Human ships moved like predators, fast and coordinated. Fighters launched in swarms, weaving through enemy fire. Missiles struck weak points, tearing apart ships far larger than their own. The coalition fleet, confident and arrogant, was unprepared. Their formations broke quickly. Confusion spread. "Where are they?" shouted one craft commander as human fighters vanished into the fog, only to strike again from behind. "They fight like demons," cried another. Admiral Kane stood calmly on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching the chaos. "Focus on their flagships," he ordered. "Cut off their head, and the body will fall." Human warships surged forward, striking with brutal efficiency. Within minutes, 5 alien cruisers were destroyed. 2 battleships burned, their hulls breaking apart. Admiral Vroth roared in anger. "Impossible! They are too strong." But even his own officers saw the truth. Humans were not weak. They were not myths. They were soldiers. The UN's Vengeance turned its cannons on Vroth's flagship. A storm of fire ripped across the alien ship. Explosions shook its decks. Systems failed. On his burning bridge, Vroth bared his teeth in fury. "This is not the end," he growled. But his words were lost as fire consumed the ship. The flagship exploded, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The coalition fleet broke. Ships scattered in panic. Some tried to fight on, but most fled. Human warships gave chase, striking down those who resisted. But Admiral Kane lifted his hand. "Let them run. Let them carry the message." The battle ended as quickly as it began. Dozens of alien ships burned, their wreckage floating in the nebula. Human warships returned to formation, engines glowing in silence. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Captain Ilara turned to Kane. Her eyes were wide with awe. We did it. The coalition fleet is destroyed." Kane's expression remained calm. "No, this was only the beginning. They will send more. They will not forgive this, but now the galaxy knows." He turned toward the stars. "Tell them we are not legends. Tell them we are not myths. Tell them we are the storm." News of the battle spread like wildfire. Survivors of the coalition fleet carried the story back to their empires. They spoke of human warships moving like predators, of fleets destroyed in minutes, of a commander whose voice was calm and deadly. At first, many refused to believe, but the wreckage could not be denied. Entire fleets had vanished, and the survivors carried images clear, undeniable images of human warships with the Eagle of Earth Command painted on their hulls. The galaxy shook. On the Senate floor, chaos reigned. The Serati elder shouted, "I warned you. They are alive. Stronger than before." The Krall scientists trembled. "They learned too fast. This is only their first battle, yet they crushed us." The Krath overlords roared in anger and fear. "We will gather greater fleets. We will burn them." But the Relari ambassador stood silently, watching the fear spread. Finally, he spoke. "You still do not understand. You cannot fight them. Like this, the more you push, the stronger they will become. Humanity has returned, and nothing will stop them now." Meanwhile, on the hidden human world, celebrations filled the streets. Soldiers returned as heroes. Families wept with pride. For the first time in centuries, humans felt hope. Admiral Kane stood before the fleet, his voice echoing across every ship. "Today we showed the galaxy the truth. We are not gone. We are not broken. We are humanity. And from this day forward, the stars belong to us again." The crews cheered. Their voices shook the air, but Kane's expression remained serious. He knew the truth. The galaxy would not surrender so easily. The great empires would unite, sending fleets larger than anything humanity had yet faced. This victory was only the first step. The real war was coming. Far away, the ancient Ave whispered again in the ruins of the old station. "Protocol 9 active. Humanity has revealed itself. Prepare for escalation." Lights spread across forgotten systems. More war machines awoke. Old weapons hummed with power. The galaxy had laughed at the human legend. But now, their skies were filled with human warships, and this was only the beginning. The first battle was over, but the war had only begun. The coalition fleet had been destroyed in the nebula. Survivors had returned to their empires with stories of human warships, human commanders, and human fury. No longer could anyone deny the truth. Humans were real. They had returned. The galaxy trembled. Fear spread across thousands of worlds. Traders avoided routes near the dark regions. Colonists whispered of black warships that hunted silently. And in the Great Senate, the truth finally broke through pride. The Serati elder stood tall in the chamber. His silver scales glowed under the light. You see now, the humans are alive. They destroyed your fleets as if they were nothing. Laugh at them no more. Fear them. The craft overlords slammed their claws. We will not bow to them. We will gather every fleet, every warrior. We will crush their worlds until no human breathes again. The Krull scientist adjusted his glowing eyes. Be careful. Records say this is how humans win. The more you fight them, the stronger they become. They study, they adapt. But the chamber was filled with rage. The humiliation of losing so quickly burned too deeply. The great empires of the galaxy made their choice. For the first time in centuries, they united. Craft warships, Oxen, cruisers, Serati destroyers, and dozens of other fleets came together. A massive armada, the largest the galaxy had seen in generations, prepared to march. Their target was clear, the humans not far away. In the hidden human base, Admiral Kane already knew what was coming. On the bridge of the UNS Vengeance, holographic maps filled the air. They showed the movement of alien fleets, thousands of ships gathering together. Captain Ilara frowned. They are uniting, all of them. Every empire is sending ships. Their numbers will be overwhelming. Kane's face was calm. Of course they unite. They are afraid. But they forget one truth. Fear does not weaken us. Fear strengthens us. Ilara's voice grew tense. Can we truly stand against all of them? Kane turned his eyes to the fleet outside the window. Dozens of human warships gleamed in the light. Engineers worked without rest to awaken more. Fighters launched from hangars like swarms. Training grounds roared with drills. Yes, Kane said simply, because we do not fight like them. They fight with pride. We fight to win. The alien armada moved. Thousands of ships entered human space. Their engines filled the void with light. They were certain of victory, but the humans were waiting. The first strike came at a border colony where aliens expected little resistance. A fleet of 200 alien ships descended upon the planet. They opened fire from orbit, raining destruction. Then, the skies lit with fire. Human orbital cannons, hidden under the planet's crust, rose and unleashed devastating beams. Alien ships exploded before they even understood what had happened. From the clouds, human warships appeared, engines burning. Fighters swarmed like hornets. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but human tactics cut them apart. Within an hour, the battle was over. 200 alien ships destroyed. The colony stood untouched. The survivors fled, screaming overcomes. They have weapons we cannot match. In the following weeks, war spread across dozens of systems. The galaxy poured fleets into human space. And everywhere, humans struck with terrifying precision. In one system, they unleashed AI-controlled war machines, old weapons that had slept for centuries. The machines fought without fear, tearing through alien cruisers. In another system, humans detonated asteroids filled with explosives, shattering entire enemy squadrons in ambush. Everywhere, humans showed strategies the galaxy had never seen. They fought not with pride, but with cold logic. Every strike was designed to break the enemy's will. The alien Senate grew desperate. Reports arrived daily. The craft lost 200 warships. The Oxen colonies on the border have fallen. Even the Serati home fleets are retreating. Panic filled the chamber. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's great powers felt powerless. The Relari ambassador spoke softly, his words heavy. You see now, you laughed at the human legend. You thought them weak. But humans are not like us. They fight until the last. And when they rise like a storm. Meanwhile, humanity continued to grow stronger. Admiral Kane stood in the War Council. Maps of the galaxy glowed before him, red markers showing battles won. His officers stood at attention. Every victory gives us new strength, Kane said. Alien fleets fall, and we take their technology. Their weapons become ours. Their fear becomes our weapon. Captain Alara nodded. But they still have more numbers. If they unite further, they could overwhelm us. Kane smiled slightly. Then we will divide them. Pride and fear will tear them apart faster than our cannons. On alien worlds, people began to question their leaders. Soldiers whispered of hopeless battles. Civilians prayed for peace. And some began to secretly admire the humans. In dark markets, traders smuggled human relics, small pieces of tech captured from wrecks. They whispered that humans were the future, not the enemy. Even a few alien commanders, beaten too many times, sent secret messages to Admiral Kane. They offered surrender in exchange for mercy. Kane accepted some of them. Human fleets began to grow not just with humans, but with aliens who chose to serve rather than die. The war spread further. Great battles shook the stars. At the Battle of Zoreth Gate, 500 alien ships clashed, with only 50 human warships. The aliens laughed at the numbers, but humans used gravity weapons hidden in the gate itself. The battlefield twisted. Alien ships collided with each other. Within hours, the 500 were reduced to wreckage. While the human fleet remained standing. At the siege of Juran Prime, alien armies landed on the surface. They thought the planet was undefended. But the humans had prepared underground fortresses. Soldiers poured from hidden tunnels, striking with precision. Alien armies were driven back, broken and terrified. Every battle ended the same. The galaxy fought with numbers. Humans fought with fury. And numbers were not enough. In the Senate, the mood turned dark. The Serati elder shouted, "We cannot win. Every battle we fight, we lose." The Krath overlord roared, "Then we must destroy everything. Burn their planets, kill their people, leave nothing alive." The Kral scientist shook his head. "And if we fail? They will do the same to us. Already, some of our worlds have surrendered. To them, humanity does not only fight. Humanity conquers." The Relari ambassador stood tall for the first time. His voice carried across the chamber. "I told you from the beginning. You laughed at the human legend, but now you kneel before it. The war has spread, and you are losing. Far away, Admiral." Kane prepared his next move. On the bridge of the Un's vengeance, he looked at the stars beyond. His officers waited. "The galaxy believed us gone," he said quietly. "They laughed at our name. They thought we were myths. But now their fleets burn, their worlds fall. And soon, even their capital will bow." Captain Ilara's eyes widened. "You mean the Senate world?" Kane nodded. His voice was cold, filled with certainty. "Yes, it is time. We will strike the heart. The galaxy will see our flag above their greatest world. And they will understand that humanity has returned. Not as a legend, but as rulers." The crew saluted. The fleet roared to life. Engines lit the dark like fire. The war was no longer a whisper. It was no longer a rumor. The war had spread to every corner of the galaxy. And at its center, humanity stood unbroken. The galaxy had never known such fear. For weeks, humans had struck again and again. Entire fleets vanished. Colonies that had once laughed at the legend of Earth Command were now empty, burned, or surrendered. The great empires of the galaxy, Once proud and untouchable, trembled. Now, the final target was clear. The Senate world of Zaldris, heart of the galaxy's power, must fall. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the Unend's vengeance. Behind him, the fleet stretched for thousands of kilometers, every ship ready for battle. Fighters swarmed like storms. Warships gleamed in the starlight, and orbital weapons hummed, waiting for the command. Captain Alara stepped forward. "Are you sure we can take the Senate world, sir? Even with everything we have, they will fight back." Kane turned, his eyes burning with determination. "Yes, the galaxy believed us gone. They laughed at our name. They thought we were weak. Today, they will learn that humanity does not kneel. Humanity conquers." Meanwhile, on Zaldris, the Senate was in chaos. Reports of human fleets approaching flooded the chamber. Leaders shouted and argued. Some demanded fleets be sent to intercept. Others called for evacuation. Panic spread faster than any warship. The Serati elder hissed, his scales shining with anger. "We have ignored the legend for too long. Now it comes to life. If we do not act, humanity will strike the heart of the galaxy." The Krath overlord roared, "Then we shall fight." Every ship, every warrior crushed them. The Krull scientist shook his head. "Fools, every fleet we send is already weakened. The humans adapt faster than we can prepare." The Rillary ambassador, standing silently, whispered only one truth: "You cannot stop them. The galaxy will kneel, whether you wish it or not." The human fleet moved through the void with purpose. Their speed was unmatched, their strategy flawless. Sensors picked up alien fleets attempting to intercept, but Kane had anticipated every move. Every ambush was countered, every trap was turned into a victory. The UN's vengeance led the charge. Its cannons glowed, ready to strike. Fighter squadrons swarmed, cutting through alien cruisers with surgical precision. Every human ship, no matter how small, moved like a predator, striking at weak points the enemy didn't even know existed. Admiral Kane's voice echoed across the fleet. "Focus on command ships, take their leaders first. Panic will spread faster than fire." The first wave of defenders arrived, the largest fleet the galaxy could muster. Thousands of ships surrounded the approach to Zaldris. They opened fire with everything they had. The void erupted in light, missiles streaked like falling stars, and explosions shattered the darkness. But the humans were ready. Shields flared on every warship. Plasma beams cut through the enemy like knives. Fighters dodged and struck in perfect coordination. Missiles were intercepted, and alien formations were broken apart before they could regroup. Within hours, hundreds of alien warships lay in flames. The survivors tried to retreat, but Kane had planned for this. Hidden minefields, AI-controlled interceptors, and orbital weapons tore through the fleeing fleets. The legend of humans was no longer myth. It was reality. On the surface of Zaldris, alarms screamed. The Senate world had never seen such destruction. Civilians ran in fear. Military commanders tried to organize defenses, but the humans were everywhere at once. Then, as if from the shadows, the first human warships appeared above the city. Cloaking technology hidden for centuries allowed them to slip past orbital defenses, striking at the heart of command centers. On the bridge of the Un's vengeance, Kane watched the destruction unfold. His voice was calm, even as chaos spread below. "Prepare for landing," he ordered. "This is where the galaxy kneels." The humans landed swiftly. Elite soldiers poured from transports, moving through the city with speed and precision. Alien soldiers were caught off guard, their formations broken before they even realized what was happening. Kane led the assault personally. His boots echoed on marble floors as he moved toward the central chamber of the Senate. Guards tried to stop him. They failed. Every strike was precise. Every movement calculated. Captain Alara covered his flank, her squad clearing corridors with unmatched skill. Explosions shook the building. Smoke filled the air. But humans pressed forward. At last, Cain and his squad reached the central chamber. The leaders of the galaxy, the ones who had mocked and feared humans for centuries, were there. They stared in disbelief as the humans entered, unarmed civilians stunned, warriors defeated, and their pride shattered. Cain stood tall. You laughed at humanity. You called us weak. You said we were myths. Today, the galaxy sees the truth. The Craft Elder tried to speak, but his voice failed. The Serati hissed, shaking with rage, yet powerless. The Crawl scientist adjusted his glasses, unable to argue. Cain raised his hand, not to strike, but to demand attention. The galaxy will kneel. But know this, we do not destroy without reason. We do not kill without cause. We fight to protect our name, our people, and our future. Respect is earned. Today, humanity commands it. Across the galaxy, messages from surviving fleets and scouts spread the news. The humans had taken the Senate world. Entire empires fell silent. Panic and fear replaced arrogance and pride. In every corner of the galaxy, leaders whispered to each other, questioning their next moves. Traitors, colonists, and soldiers alike spoke of the humans with reverence and fear. The legend had become reality. Even the ancient AI, observing from the ruins of old stations, hummed in satisfaction. Protocol complete. Humanity rules the stars. The galaxy has learned respect. The storm is eternal. On Zaldris, Admiral Cain watched the city from the Bridge of the Vengeance, now hovering above the Senate. Below, alien leaders knelt in submission. Their fleets destroyed or surrendered. Captain Alara approached him. Sir, it's done. The galaxy kneels. Cain's eyes burned with pride and determination. Yes, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember humanity. They will never underestimate us again. He looked toward the stars, where countless systems still awaited their command. Today we fight as humans. Tomorrow the stars will belong to us, always. And so, the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. The species it had once laughed at, the fragile, underestimated humans, had returned. They were not myths. They were not weak. They were unstoppable. The legend had become reality. The galaxy had bowed. Humanity had risen, and the stars belonged to them.